Actually, now we decided to step this NFT path to roll out some cool artworks and potentially fund our Kusama parachain slots. Basically, those who bought these cats from the auction on the Rarible platform, they can basically submit these cats into our DeFi platform and further, and expect certain discounts on commission fees and stuff.
And they can then get this marker. There's a really cool, I mean, just look at this little guy. The art on these things is so cool. So they're absolutely collectibles, as well as these ways to contribute. Welcome to Chainlink Live. I'm Andy Boyan from Chainlink Labs, and I'm here with Alex Melikhov from Equilibrium, a DeFi project using NFTs for a really interesting mechanism for funding their launch. Alex, why don't you start and say hello to everybody and tell us a little bit about Equilibrium. What do you guys do? What makes you unique in the space?
Sure. Hi, guys. Thanks very much for showing up today on Chainlink Live, and really appreciate to have you with us. I'm Alex. I'm the CEO and the founder with the Equilibrium team. Just to give you a bit lowdown on what exactly we're building. So you can think of Equilibrium and Genshiro as well as a conglomerate of DeFi products. So we are solving maybe one of the main challenges for DeFi. It's the fragmentation. We know that, first of all, DeFi is currently fragmented across multiple products, protocols, and whatever applications. And sometimes it's rather inconvenient to switch between interfaces and stuff. And another problem on another coin side here is that the liquidity in DeFi is also fragmented across multiple blockchain networks. We know that the majority of value locked currently on Ethereum. However, Ethereum is just a small fraction of the overall crypto market, right? And there's a bunch of other blockchain networks which are like still unserved with the current DeFi applications. And thanks to the underlying platform which we're working with, which is Polkadot and Kusama as well, the problem of cross-chain interoperability is solved almost out of the box thanks to utilizing these blockchain platforms. And actually, you know, to solve this fragmentation challenge, you can basically take one of two approaches. So the first one is basically to build up the aggregator, right? This approach also makes sense. And we know the prominent projects out there which are doing that, like, for example, Ethereum or 1inch or Refinance, which is Polkadot based. At Equilibrium and Genshiro, we're taking a little bit different approach, which is the approach of building the conglomerate. In this case, you're building all the underlying technology and the architecture of your system off the ground yourself, and you're not relying on third-party technology. So efficiently, we are creating the separate liquidity pools on various blockchain, which are interconnected via bridges on Polkadot and Kusama. And in the center of that, we have the core business logics, which is up and running either on Polkadot and Kusama, which is managing the relations between these liquidity pools. So the platform which we are building is comprised of the lending platform with a comprehensive tool sets of lending instruments, including pooled lending, decentralized stablecoins. We have the native one, which is backed to dollar. It's called EQD. It actually is backed by the true basket of collateral, of crypto collateral. We also have the functionality of synthetic asset generation. And on top of that, we're building the second part of our platform, which is the cross-chain professional-grade decentralized exchange, which is order book-based. It's heavily leveraging the lending platform because, like, we are aiming to implement the margin trading functionality on our spot markets, which we are currently building, and it's obviously requires the certain lending capabilities, which we are basically achieving through interconnecting our DEX with our lending platform. And also we're aiming to build the perpetual market as well, which is kind of interesting. So for us, like, as I said, we are building both in Polkadot and Kusama. On Kusama, we are launching our parachain called Genshiro. It's supposed to be the canary network for Equilibrium, sort of test site for our further product developments. So everything, all the new experimental things that we're going to implement, we will be rolling out firstly on Genshiro. And currently we are in the process of obtaining the slots on Kusama, which is, it's a bit of process, because eventually you need to participate in auctions. Auctions are currently ongoing. We're currently in the middle of the second auction.
So hold on. This is where I want to get a little bit of clarity, because and sorry if the audience knows everything about this. I want some clarity for these auctions on Kusama. Is that what are you auctioning for? Like, what are you trying to get? Is it validators' attention to spin up your what is it exactly?
Yeah, so let me give you a bit more color on how exactly both networks like Kusama and Polkadot actually build up. So first of all these networks are actually comprised of independent blockchains, right? And these blockchains are called parachains. So in the core of this technology, there is a relay chain which is synchronizing relations between all these blockchains, right? So efficiently, all these parachains, they're interconnected via relay chain, and to get connected with the relay chain, you need to obtain the slot. So the number of this slot is limited. Or there are just 100 slots available, and actually, in order to get the slots, you need to undergo this auctioning process. So how exactly this auctioning process works? So if you want to get the parachain slot, you are basically applying for the auction. You're submitting your code base and saying, okay, so I want to become a parachain with this code base, and then you need to contribute or stake certain amounts of either DOT tokens if it comes to Polkadot, or Kusama KSM tokens if we are talking about the Kusama network. So the rough estimation of funds that you need to contribute to this process is 1 million DOT tokens on the Polkadot network and roughly 100,000 KSMs on Kusama. So according to the current price rates, despite even the current market pullback, this is quite substantial amount of money, you know. Yeah. You need to, like 100,000 Kusamas, it's still like $20 million. Yeah. Right? So not that many projects can afford to fund these bits themselves.
I'm just going to sell my Beeple and I'll be fine, right?
Yeah, you should be. It's just one third of your Beeple.
So there's a significant resources so that the Polkadot chain or the Kusama chain has like that initial stake. It's not just a proof of stake. It's also this initial stake commitment that the code base is worth reviewing. You've done this due diligence. There's a lot of these elements. Is that the thinking behind it?
Something like that. Maybe not that much due diligence. So it's not like, you know, in traditional finance when you're or VC world when you're doing due diligence with the VC firms. But yeah, still you need to undergo some procedure. And so eventually it's you're rolling out the full-fledged campaign to get the slot, because you need to engage with the community. You need to engage with some larger scale participants to convince them to participate in your auction. And eventually, like there is a mechanism called crowd loan, which is embedded into both networks. It actually lives on the relay chain and allows, like, it basically enables the community to stake their native tokens for specific projects. And in exchange, these projects are actually paying rewards on staked either KSMs or DOTs, right? So every project defines its own strategy in terms of rewarding schedule and how much exactly the project wants to raise through this process. Like our rough estimation is just told you, but other projects, they can have something different in mind, right? And also you have an opportunity to bid for different slots, right? So I mean, for different leasing periods. So you can bid for the longer leasing periods. In this case, the weights of sort of assets that you put into the auction will be higher than if you bid for just, for example, half a year or less period of time, right? So there is certain options that you can choose between, and yeah, so eventually everything depends on the project and its strategy. So at Genshiro, we have, yeah, just wanted to say a few words about our strategy, if you think it's relevant. But anyways,
I do. In one sec. So let me just clarify a little bit. So we got audience following along. First of all, we did have people who did want to see this. Cypher Games, you're welcome. We can all learn a little bit about this. So Equilibrium is kind of the core DeFi project, and you're using Genshiro to do some of the testing for new DeFi products to really kind of find that product market fit. But in order to do all of this in the Polkadot network on Kusama specifically, am I right? You need to participate in an auction slot, and that is going to require some fundraising. And so we'll get to that part in a little bit. But Genshiro itself will have a particular strategy in mind for this. So go ahead and talk to us a little bit about that strategy.
Yeah, I just maybe also wanted to elaborate, again, so we in the Polkadot space, we have two networks efficiently, Polkadot and Kusama, and not necessarily you need to roll out something on Kusama to be on Polkadot, and it works in the opposite way. So you don't need to be on Polkadot if you want to be just on Kusama. Otherwise, you can launch two networks, one on Kusama, one on Polkadot, and it's actually your choice. So we decided to launch two networks. One, as I said, Genshiro. The second is Equilibrium. It will be up and running on Polkadot eventually. So yeah, and currently we're rolling out our strategy to get the slot on Kusama. So a few words about the strategy. Again, we are raising currently 100,000 Kusamas. We think it will be sufficient to win the slot. Actually, there are several ways to contribute to this process. So the first one is just straightforward, to go to our website, whatever, and just stake your Kusamas there. And eventually we'll be rewarding all the contributors with our Genshiro tokens. So respectively, each one Kusama you stake will eventually get up to 2,400 Kusama Genshiro tokens, like 2,400s. So another way is to go to one of the biggest exchanges who also implemented their functionality for bidding the Kusama auctions, like Kraken, OKX, KuCoin. And the third way how actually our followers or our community members could participate in that is actually to buy NFT cats on Rarible. So it's kind of the third and kind of unique way how people could be involved in all this process. So for now, the auction is already ended, and we actually have created the suits of very cool cats. We see them on the screen now. Each of the cat is pertaining to particular cryptocurrency. So we do have this fat Bitcoin cat. we also have other cats like Ethereum cats. You can show Ethereum cats. It's also kind of fond of. So it's Eevee the Explorer, right? So it's like licking the crystal.
Who made these? Who's the artist who made these? We got to give a shout out here.
We do have internal team of designers who are doing all these artworks.
Oh, these are your designers? These are so good. I mean, the faces, the emotions are great. The animations are fun. And of course, they're all funny. But the tones, like the color tones, it's like sepia toned. And it's just really well done. So very props to your design team on these.
Yeah,
they're a lot of fun. And it, as Alex said at the beginning a little bit, this is one of, are you the first or are you the only or both a project to use this type of auction to raise funds for a launch like this?
Yeah, so just also to elaborate a little bit on the background, how we came to the idea to create these cats. So we've been actually creating the sort of visuals for Genshiro, and there were a lot of creative ideas. So eventually we put together a set of illustrations for the website, and we thought, wow, we have created super cool sort of style for that. So it will be awesome to create some separate illustrations, which can be eventually turned into NFTs. And that's how we came to the idea to create a set of cats. So yeah, and eventually these cats, they, besides that they're just simply cool, they also have a cool hidden features, right? And that's how we came to the idea to work with Chainlink and to implement that, to make it real.
Is it a secret feature? It was out. It was on the announcement, so I thought we could talk about at least the Chainlink one, right?
Yeah. No. Look, I think we mentioned it in multiple times in our announcement, so nothing secret here. Yeah. So basically, here we see the normal cats, right? So it's a kind of normal. It's a little bit mutant, but it's still normal. However, each of these cats has certain thresholds of the cryptocurrency which is underlying the cats. And basically, when the price of this cryptocurrency hits a certain threshold, the cat turns into its gold version. So we actually have the prices which are supplied by Chainlink, and relying on these prices, we're making decision whether the cat is normal or we need to turn it into its gold version. So basically, for example, yeah, just wanted to say if for example, Bitcoin will hit $100,000, then Bitcoin cat will become golden.
All right, Joanne, you can get your fat noodle cat. I see you in the chat talking about liking this one. This is one of the most exciting, interesting use cases for dynamic NFTs that I see is you can set arbitrary data thresholds for whatever, and then have an NFT change the art, the statistics that are on there. There's a ton of options for what you can do here. This is it's like unlocking the golden version at these high price levels. It's very a bull market and aspirational, which fits into the mission of fundraising and things like that. It's also a very cross-chain, multi-chain approach. Launching on Kusama and Polkadot. Still, you've got Bitcoin and BNB and Ethereum, all things featured here in these NFTs. I think that just says a lot about your guys' approach and how you're coming at this. So props to you there, not only on the art, but on the way that you're implementing dynamic NFTs. And of course, I love that because it gives a Chainlink a chance to shine as a place to provide that dynamic NFT element there.
Yeah, we're super happy about that as well.
Now, I don't want this to get lost and these are so gorgeous and the dynamic NFTs are cool, but fundamentally Equilibrium and Genshiro are DeFi platforms. So the NFTs is a cool mechanism, a nice way to support early contributors, kind of give back to them. But what are some of the DeFi products that you guys are planning on? Some of the early ones that you're planning on coming out once you get these things launched? I don't want these to get missed and buried because it is a DeFi platform, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of our developments, we have already implemented everything related to our lending platform. On top of that, we have built the bridge between Ethereum and our network. It's already up and running our test nets, and soon I'm sure we'll make it into production. So in terms of this lending platform, users already can lend out their crypto, various crypto, specifically Ethereum-based assets. And also we are currently working on some other bridges with other blockchains. So we will be also integrating RenVM bridge at some point, which will be bridging us with the Bitcoin network. So yeah, in terms of this lending platform, we have the functionality of pooled lending, of generation of stable coins, a little bit similar to MakerDAO, but different if to get into the technical aspects of that. So we also will have the synthetic assets functionality, and on top of that, we are introducing quite innovative approach to the risk management into the borrowing cost assessment. Because you probably know that most of current DeFi platforms, including per se Compounds or Aave, they're taking the approach of asset utilization when it comes to assessing the borrowing costs. And the more of particular assets borrowed from the particular liquidity pool, the higher interest on loans. In our case, it works in a little bit different way. Because we are taking the risk-based approach, which is inherited from the world of traditional finance. And actually, in terms of this approach, we're constantly assessing the overall system solvency. We are also assessing the risk profile of particular user position and the volatility of underlying asset portfolio. So obviously, price feeds playing a very significant role in all these processes, and we know, we both know that actually we are aiming to integrate Chainlink on our product line as well on Polkadot. We already announced that several months ago. Now working on that, so hopefully it will also be implemented very soon. And actually, like, the uniqueness of this approach to the borrowing cost assessment lies into the opportunity of particular borrower to affect the interest that they pay on their loans, right? So you can either provide less volatile collateral to the system, or to provide just more collateral to set higher collateralization level. And in this case, you'll reduce the interest that you are paying on your loans. So on another hand, we are introducing a very unique mechanism for debt management. So we all know that sometimes in DeFi margin calls occur, right? And it happens, like it's a natural flow of DeFi, and specifically in over-collateralization loans. So usually, like most of platforms, again, the major platforms on Ethereum, they're actually relying on auctioning and selling off the liquidated collateral through auctions, or just selling off at the discounted prices. And actually, this approach showed up some inefficiency back in Black Thursday last year, when that MakerDAO actually didn't manage to conduct all these auctions, and quite substantial amounts of money was just actually extracted from the protocol. So in this case, and actually this is the drawback of some forced actions just at the moments of market crash, right? So you cannot expect that there will be enough market participants ready to buy your assets, even at discounted prices or auctions, whatever. And at Equilibrium and Genshiro, we are introducing the new functionality, which is called bailouts. And
we actually have a question about this, so this is perfect timing.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, thanks for the question. It's a good one. So basically, what bailouts are? So imagine that we, besides just liquidity pools that's like regular ones where users providing collateral and take out loans from, we are adding additional liquidity pool, which is called the bailout pool. And besides just lenders and borrowers, we also have a very specific role of bailsmen. So these bailsmen are actually the liquidity providers. So they're providing liquidity into this bailout pools, and efficiently they are taking the most of risk in the system. For sure, they are getting rewarded for that, and they are earning a significant fraction of interest paid by borrowers, up to 80%. And what actually happens in case of margin calls? So in these cases, nothing specific happens. So we don't require any kind of forced actions from third parties or whatever market makers. We're just simply transferring the debt obligation from borrowers to bailsmen. So bailsmen, they're taking over these obligations, and they're free to pay out loans whenever they want. So it means that they are not necessarily required to pay out loans or buy out some, assets in case of market turmoil, right? In the case of flash crash and stuff.
But
So
it
this actually,
stabilizes the system because they have the option to do that, and it kind of holds it in reserve. And you know that there's funds in reserve because they're staked. Is that right?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And so on top of that, what's really interesting about that? So, for example, imagine that you're auctioning some assets, like through liquidation process. In this case, the system is taking the risk of liquidated debt. So this debt is staying in the system, and we don't have any kind of idea when exactly this auction happens. So if there will be not enough interest, it can stay for a long time, and you are taking risk of price slippage and stuff. And the system solvency is under the risk here. In case of bailouts, the system never takes the risk of this debt. So this is a fundamental difference between auctioning and bailouts. And overall, bailouts definitely make system more resilient and more sustainable.
Seems like there's a lot of creative space around bailouts too, about when, like at what levels bailouters, whatever the term for them is, want to implement those things and take different levels of risk. So excited to see kind of what you guys launch and deliver there. Thank you, Cypher Games, for the question. Great question there as well. Alex, we're running up on time, so I want you to give us a little more. Like we kind of have an idea of what's next on the roadmap. We've got some DeFi stuff coming. We've got the Kusama launch coming. The NFT auction. Somebody asked about the NFTs. The NFT auction is over. It's done, right? Like these guys are. Here we go. Lost it. There we go. These guys have been distributed. So that part is over. But what's next on the roadmap? Kind of coming up in the next few weeks and months.
As I said, first of all, we are bidding at the Kusama auctions. If you guys want to support us, feel free to go to our website. It's Genshiro.io, like on my
We have
t-shirt.
everything down in the description below. They can find everything.
Awesome.
It's all there.
Awesome. So you need to go right away there, and you find the link to our crowd loan campaign, and you can contribute your Kusama tokens if you hold ones. Obviously, never give the financial or investment advices, and actually, crowd loan is not the investment, right? So because you're just efficiently lending out your Kusamas, and you eventually get them back. On top of that, you receive rewards in our native Genshiro tokens if it comes to Kusama crowd loans. So this is maybe the highest priority for us to basically obtain the slot on the Kusama network. So after that, roughly in a month, there will be parachain auctions kicked off on Polkadot. So we will be also competing for the Polkadot parachain for our Equilibrium project. And so this is kind of very exciting. And on top of that, we are approaching the production launch of everything that we have developed so far, specifically our lending platform. We'll be launching our liquidity farming program. So if you consider projects where you are potentially can provide liquidity or aiming to provide liquidity, you might think of either Genshiro or Equilibrium, because they will be liquidity farming on both of these networks, and you have a chance to provide liquidity either to our bailout pool and eventually to collateral pool as well, and earn some substantial amounts of our tokens.
Awesome. Well, we're looking forward to all of these releases, and best of luck to you. To the community, thank you so much for your questions. We're going to wrap things up here. If you have more questions for Alex about these cats or about their interesting new DeFi projects, and the bailout system is really fascinating, join communities. That's how to do that. We've got links to everything Equilibrium and everything Genshiro down below in the description. So go join a Discord, join a Telegram. What are your communities mostly on, Telegram or Discord?
I would say Twitter and Telegram.
All right, Twitter as well. Lots going on Twitter. So please go and check those out. Francis, I see your question. Go ask that in their chats. I'm going to challenge you. Go to their chats and ask those questions. That's how to get involved. And hey, while you're joining chats, join the Chainlink Telegram, join the Chainlink Discord as well. That's kind of where to get plugged into the Chainlink ecosystem. Alex, thank you very much for joining me today. This has been an absolute pleasure.
Absolutely. Thank you, Andy, for having me here. And thanks to the amazing community for supporting us and our NFT auction as well.
Absolutely. All right, everyone. This has been Andy Boyan with Chainlink Live. Join us, subscribe, like and subscribe this video. I do a few of these every week. Next week, I have 4. I got 2 double doubles on Thursday, Friday. So come and subscribe to more of these. I will be very happy to see you all, answer your questions, and introduce you to a whole bunch of other cool projects working with Chainlink. So thank you guys for coming, and we'll see you next time on Chainlink Live.